Hi, everyone, and let's look at branding and, in particular, your business name. So, this is something that we need to really do straight off the bat, but please be aware that it's something that can change over time. Ascend used to be Meldrum Performance Coaching, before that was DC Health. So, it's gone through multiple iterations. So, you're not married to any name for the rest of your life, but it's certainly worth spending your time investing in it. So, naming your business, there's a lot of different options that you can have there. It's also an element of your brand identity. It's not just a name. So, it actually represents what the brand is. And if we look at this using lots of other different fitness businesses, we can kind of see what they're trying to achieve from their name. So, if we look at Vision Personal Training, it's because they've got a vision. They're trying to put out that they're looking out there. Okay. Fitness First is trying to establish that, fitness is the first thing that you should be a priority of. Good life, it's a good life. Like, it all fits into the actual perception of what the brand is. And one of the things that I really want to emphasize is that personal branding is becoming increasingly more important each and every day. If we look at what's really hitting on social media now, is it's no longer companies, it's people. So an example is Kim Kardashian. She's obviously got a huge personal brand, but she also makes a ton of money off the pants label that she has. And that pant label has very few followers relative to her, but they're making an absolute fortune in revenue. It's because people are gravitating towards her, and then they look at her endorsements. It's the whole rise of the influencer culture. But with social media making everyone so accessible, personal branding is a very important thing to be aware of. So we're going to keep that in the back of the mind while we go through this presentation. We have lots of different stuff on that coming up too. So with our branding, really, really important to attract and retain clients. And it helps differentiate us from our competitors. It can build trust and allows us to have a connection with our audience. So we need to consider how it reflects what we're doing. So it needs to align with our values, our personality, and the unique qualities that set you apart as a trainer. With us, we picked Ascend because we go above and beyond. We go above and beyond what other companies do, both in training and in education. So we really wanted to capitalize on that. Now, with branding, you also need to be consistent. It needs to be across the different platforms, including your website, social media, and marketing materials. Once you pick a name, it needs to be everywhere. When you go through all our Ascend presentations, you'll notice the Ascend logo will be on each and everything that we do. You always want to bring it back to your brand. And the easier it is to remember, the more memorable it is, the easier it is to get by. Same with email addresses and stuff like that. So our former name, Meldrum Performance Coaching, everyone used to call it MPC, very, very memorable. But when it came to the actual domain name, it was Meldrum Performance Coaching, a real mouthful to print and type in. Also remember that names are temporary and not set in stone, as we touched on earlier. As your business evolves, your name may need to change, and that's okay. And it can also change based on the target market or whatever strategy you got. So still put time and effort into it. Just be aware that it may change over time. And if you do a new brand, you can actually signal to your audience that your business has evolved and expanded. It can also be a fresh start as well. If your brand isn't really hitting and your name isn't hitting, it's totally okay to change that. There's no issues there. But if you do it too much, what happens is it dilutes your business name, and also you have to redo all your marketing efforts over and over. So as we rebranded from MPC to Ascend, we had to rebrand every little bit of collateral that we had developed. So with reflecting your business values and your services, your values should really dictate a lot of this stuff. So it should convey expertise, highlight unique selling points, and create an emotional connection as best you can. Okay, so one of our coaches' names for her business is Empower her. So the whole idea of the business is to empower her female clients. So the name Empower Her makes sense with that. Another one, our private coaching business, Be Seen. It's allowing people to be seen. So it creates an emotional connection, and that's a selling point, that the person will be seen in that session. So, or in that consultative process. So with that, we can really use what we're working with to relate our period of our expertise and skill, and highlight our USP and create emotional connections. Now, including your name, this is something I have and haven't done. Okay. So including your name in the business has its advantages and disadvantages. It really depends on where you want to go and what type of business that you want to have. So the pros for it: personal connection. Obviously, people get more connected to the person's name. Brand recognition. As your reputation grows, your name becomes synonymous with that. And it can get trust and credibility a lot faster, because people will trust people rather than corporations. The cons of it, scalability. Okay, running a gym, it's a bad idea because in a gym, for example, they will always want to work with you. Okay, so that's one of the key things there. For a personal brand online coaching, can actually be a really good idea. Now, limited scope, it could, look at the limit, the perception of what you offer rather than a broader range of offerings. That's why we change to Ascend, and then brand evolution. So I'm going to go through what we kind of did through different stages of the business. So when I started off as a personal trainer, I didn't really even think of having a business name or anything like that. It really wasn't. It was like Paul's Fitness. Like, it was literally that basic. And with that, it didn't really make a difference. The first gym we opened up was DC Health. And DC Health actually meant nothing. It was just a name that I came up with one day. DC, probably something to do with Batman and other things like that. And everyone just called it DC. So everyone loved DC that went to that gym. We managed, 7-figure weeks, not 7-figure weeks, sorry, 7-figure years, like $20,000 per week income, very, very consistently, had very good reputation. But everyone knew that Paul and DC were one and the same thing. So people would come to DC because they'd get coached by Paul or would be out my systems. So that there made it hard for us to scale past a certain point because people always wanted to work with me, and I obviously couldn't be there, 24/7. Now, when DC shut down, they went into the consulting business and the mentoring. I just call it Melbourne Performance Coaching simply because opportunities came up really, really quickly. And what happened with those opportunities, I needed to have a business name to get going. And that personal brand recognition allowed me to sign up people. Now, the downside of that is it limited the scope of what we could do. Okay, Ascend has a lot more scope. I couldn't have a Paul supplement line. I couldn't have a Melbourne Performance, team happening as easy as having a name like Ascend. So it evolved to Ascend because the scope changes and the scalability changes. The idea behind Ascend is to have my own personal brand, which has been built while having a company built up at the same time. If people want to work with me, it goes through the personal brand. And that's because of the model of the business that we've taken. Now, if you're doing an online coaching business, having your name in it is really good because people want to do business with you. And if you want to scale your business in that way, more power to you. It's a very good way of doing it. In the gym, though, it's not the best. So you need to look at your business structure and what your goals are for your business, and then you can work out what you want to do with that. So easy ways to get do. Start with a brainstorm. Chuck into ChatGPT, come up with like 50 ideas, for example. Do not use the names off ChatGPT unless it absolutely nails it. It needs to sound right to you. It needs to kind of hit. When you hear it, you like it. Need to check for existing businesses with similar names to avoid confusion and ensure domain availability. We did come across that as well. Ascend was the perfect name for it, but there are a lot of companies with Ascend in the name, particularly in the fitness space. You want to get feedback on it, and you want to consider longevity. So we, again, Melbourne Performance Coaching kind of started and finished with me. I couldn't bring other coaches onto that to work under me as easily because they didn't want to be seen as secondary. When you have a company, you can then all have your, like a name like Ascend, you can all have your personal brand attached to that. So it's not that either approach is right or wrong. It's what's right for the actual business model and structure that you're looking at. If you are struggling and you're just starting, having your name and some type of fitness or what you work with is the best start. And remember, it can change over time. So guys, thank you for watching. Let us know your business names. Put them in the comments. We'll see you next module.